some temple news. Quarter four, speaking of quarter four, we all know what's going to happen quarter four, and that is the tank top garment. I can't stop talking about it. Is going to be available to people in the United States. It's already available in other countries, and this is causing an interesting phenomenon. And as I put the title here, it says summer is heating up, and so is the hunt for the LDS tank top garments. You have lots of influencers talking about garments. This one right here is on her TikTok. She says, why do these influencers have the garments? Why do they seem to have them when no one else does? And she said, because they want them. Because they want them for their content, and they will move heaven and earth literally to get them. And that's exactly what's happening. Everybody is leveraging contacts in countries where you can buy these garments.
Where are those countries, Rebecca?
Oh, mostly what I'm hearing is the Philippines, Hong Kong. Do you have a old missionary companion? Do you have an aunt? Do you have, somebody like that? So I don't know what that
people could be making money in these countries, buying them for their American influencer counterparts, and then
this is what is happening. Yep, you're reading my slides ahead. This is it. LDS women are dying to get their hands on the new tank top garment. One influencer, and I will tell you this: every time I come across a TikTok where they're offering garments to people, and I post it, then it disappears. All of these have been taken down, but I take screenshots. So this woman showed herself carrying in some boxes, priority mail. She threw everything on the floor. You can see her there. She's hugging the, multiple packets of garments. I mean, don't even get me started on about the saints in those countries that are supposed to be able to access them. And here they are in the US, right, in priority mailboxes. And she said, just, hit me up in my DMs. I have some available if you want some. Then she puts out another video the next day. It says, I did not expect to get 2,000 messages asking for the garments. I'm going to try to get back to some of you. I don't know if I can get back to all of you. I hope I don't get in trouble from the church, or the church thinks this is okay. And then I did never really see anything else from her. So I'm not quite sure what happened, but she definitely had tons of different packages. And again, we're talking about mostly the top, the tank top. There is a slip and a half slip, but mostly I see people talking about the tank top. So here's another example of a TikTok with a whole stack of these on the floor. So you're right. That's exactly what's happening. RFM is somebody in some of these countries, the hot and humid countries, right, where they release the garments quarter 3 or quarter 2, and they're sending them to their American counterparts, and their American counterparts are making them available to people. Now, some of them say, we'll do it at cost, just pay for your shipping and I'll send it to you. But some of them, oops, what happened? Oh, I was going to say, here's a reason to get those. I told you I was going to be on the lookout for temple wedding dresses, and the tank top garments. Although with this particular one, I don't even know if you could wear the tank top garment, but I will say that people are starting to be more free in the way that they're dressing. And I love that, because that's just the next step to the rest of your life, right? When you figure out what it feels like not to have to wear those. Anyway, so I said, has the LDS Church inadvertently created a cottage industry? Here's somebody that's saying, hey, I'd love to get some of the garments that you're offering. This person says, hey, I charge $40 plus the shipping, which can be $15 to $30 depending. Let me know your size, blah, blah, blah. $40. I mean, garments are expensive. They're more expensive.
$15 to $30. You're telling me you're not absorbing a lot of that as your
cost? I don't really know what's going on, but that's what I'm saying. A cottage industry. I mean, LDS stay-at-home moms are notorious and actually really good, at MLMs and home-based businesses. While they can still be a stay-at-home mom, I don't know, but this is going on everywhere. It's absolutely crazy. And we forget in all of this, it's not just the woman's tank top garment, right? You can see that there. And we've talked before about the sleeves. I actually got some stats on that. The women are upset because the larger the garment size, the wider the sleeve. So in order to get a 1 7/8 inch sleeve that would fit under a tank top like mine, you have to get an extra, extra small. If you get an extra large garment top, your shoulder strap is going to be 3 inches wide, which is not going to fit under a tank top. So the women are kind of saying size discrimination. Why can't the larger sizes also have the strap? this again confirms what I've always thought. They did not mean to release these garments in this way, because they're not making it a strap for the bigger sizes. Anyway, I follow this too much probably. So the main problem and question people have is, couldn't you just modify, there's that scary word, your existing garments to match the new style, right? Now, of course, in the handbook, and you probably heard this, right, all the time when you would go to the temple and be instructed on garments. In fact, as a bishop, Bill, did you have to read this? Don't modify the garment. Did you ask that question?
I had to read a paper on the garment every time I did a temple interview. There was a separate sheet with the interview questions. It's an outward symbol of an inner commitment to follow the Lord Jesus Christ, that kind of thing.
Yep, exactly. And in the handbook, as I have highlighted here, it says members should not modify or alter the garment to accommodate different styles of clothing. But what if you're modifying it just to resemble perfectly what is already offered at a distribution center? You're not trying to do anything different. Yeah, exactly.
That's cheaper.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And so this is the question, and this is blowing up all over faithful social media with different points of view, and I'll show you in a minute. But to me, I think, yes, if it's already available in the distribution center, you just don't happen to have it yet, go ahead and make your garment look exactly like the ones in the distribution center. That should not be a problem. You're not modifying it for any kind of extreme clothing style. You're making it look just like anybody else's.
And you can modify your strap to make it look like the petite one.
See, and that would be the thing. I know, but then it gets into all these, the minutia of it, right? Or are you not meant by God to have it in the United States? God has specifically said you cannot have it, in Utah right now.
God is trying to teach us humility.
And that's it too. That's right. And jealousy, and start a cottage industry. So over on the Faithful site, somebody said, with the pending changes coming to the U.S., please give me your thoughts on modifying the currently owned garments to match the upcoming design. Asking for a friend. I didn't feel like I'd be able to get a usable answer in other communities, so I'm asking here. And
what does that mean? Wouldn't be able to get a usable answer? Does that mean the answer she's looking for?
Reddit has some extremely, very rigid, faithful subreddits.
The answer,
they have some more nuance. And then they have one that's kind of a mix, some PMO. So I think she just wanted to talk to normal people. What's your normal thought on it?
She wants people who will support her in her apostate endeavors.
Yeah, you could look at it that way, or she just wants to talk to a normal, reasonable person like me. Call me. I'll talk you through cutting the sleeve off your garments. So I thought it was interesting. Some of the answers, somebody said, just do it. What's the difference? The narrative that many influencers are trying to push is that they were never about modesty anyway. And this is true. That's the new narrative, even though we all know that's not right. So in that case, why would modifying them to the current standard be any different, right, than trying to get some of your relatives to get it from Guatemala for you? And that makes a lot of sense. Somebody else said the spirit or intent of that rule was not modifying them to allow revealing clothing. And that's exactly what I just said. So go ahead and do it. This person says you're not violating the spirit. Here's someone that says, as an active member with a nuanced view, I would not hesitate to alter the garments of any of the styles, past or present. If you want to wear it down to your wrist and your ankles, go for it. The church has says, do you wear your garment is the question that you'll get, not have your garments been modified since you've received them. Although I say don't give them ideas, because I feel like that might come up if you do say that. Somebody else said, let's see, I think it's on this slide, that they used to make their own garments in 1977 to 1987. And they got permission to do this because of the horrible fabric that the church was using, which they're still using, the dyed fabric, right? It's blue dyed white. That's responsible for all of the rashes and things like that. So this person says, yeah, go ahead and do it. Somebody else says they're PMO and they were at church on Sunday and they swear that the bishop's wife had, garments that were cut off. So you can see, someone else says, full confession, I've been cutting the sleeves off for years just because of the bunched up fabric. And then someone else says that they have a friend working for the distribution center and, you can request to have certain changes made if you have a medical issue, but the line for that is, you'll never get it done. So do it yourself. So anyway, lots of conversation, lots of discussion. Black market, backroom deals. I 100% think this is not what the church expected at all, which tells me that they have no concept of how women really feel in the church. just this huge surge of interest in these garments. I don't think they saw it coming, and Q4 is going to be really exciting. We will see what happens.
Here's what I think. I think the church leaders don't have any idea of how tenuous their grasp of control over the members of the church is.
It. Yep. No, you said it perfectly. That's what I mean. They don't know what's hitting them. They had no idea. Now, I do have, let me just set this up. So, like I said, it's the women's garment that's getting all the excitement, but you forget the men also have a tank top garment, okay? And it's kind of a strange cut. It's kind of like a muscle tee that you might wear in New Jersey with a gold chain on it. But here is a TikTok that just still makes me laugh every time I look at it. Now, there was a video very early on where a woman was wearing a white dress, an LDS influencer, and she was walking up the steps to church, and it said, "Wish me luck. I'm wearing the new tank top garment." Why did she need luck? Because probably she's going to get judged and scrutinized when she goes in. So this gentleman has recreated it in his own new tank top garment. I think this is brilliant. It's exactly like the woman's video, same music and everything. And again, can this be a new style? Would you guys have worn that to church? Like, sort of a tank top Sunday shirt with a tie?
No.
I just think that's great. No.
Was the woman's video also to have such a packed parking lot at church?
I don't know, and I couldn't find that video back. I know Nemo had done a treatment of it. For the sake of time, I didn't show that. You can probably look that up. But I just wondered, I also kind of made a missionary mall ad where there were some people wearing, the men wearing the tank tops, because really, why not? Why not? You're still covering your garment. There is no reason you can't wear some kind of a muscle Sunday shirt, right?
I'm sure they'll come up with one.
I'm sure they will too. And I don't know if you could pass.
All we need is the village people passing the sacrament.
Young man, right? I can see it, right? I would love that. I would go back to see that.
Oh yeah.
I can
work out in the health spa. Go man, go.
The 1990s, the 2000s, none of this could have happened.
Not at all.
We were strict. We were rigid on the garment. And you wore them as they were given to you, and you did not do anything. You wouldn't think about selling a different style. You wouldn't think about altering them. You would wear that garment in the hot of summer in southern Utah, and you'll like it, damn it.
You'd be grateful for it, too.
Yeah.
Geez, what's wrong with the Mormons today?
Well, and it's funny because, there's a new breed of women called garment girlies. Right?
No, I had not.
Garment girlies. And they're people that like to style the garments and show you how to look hot, not hot like hot, but hot while you're wearing them. And I've noticed a lot of them refer to them as garmies, not garments or the garment of the holy priesthood, but get your garmies.
Really? Like they're cute?
I don't know what they're doing.
Okay.
Honestly.
Nothing makes them cute. Just FYI.
So are you done with your story?
I'm all done. I could talk all day about garments.
Hand it back to me then.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, RFM. I am done talking about garments for this week anyway.